Alright, so recently I switched to a 4-day-a-week program rather than my previous 6-day-a-week. And I did this for a few reasons, which I will get into, but I wanted to preface by saying when I first lifted, I actually did a 3-day-a-week program. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I've talked about this before in the leg tutorial video on my channel, and I mentioned it a few times on my Instagram, but this program worked really well for me. I gained strength and muscle really quickly, and especially if you're a beginner, this is all you need. You don't need to go as hard as you can 6 days a week. It's unnecessary. You could gain quite a significant amount of progress just off of 3 or 4 days, as long as you're doing it the right way. And so, yeah, so the reason I wanted to switch to this is mainly because I just wanted to get more time out of the gym, like more days out of the gym. I may be spending the same amount of time in the gym, just more concentrated, in single days, but, I wanted more free days where I'm not doing anything and, I could spend my day doing something else and not have to worry about going to the gym and depleting my energy from, an hour and a half session. I'd rather do, 4 2.5 or just 2 hour sessions during the week, but be able to, have whatever 3 days where I can just live my life. And this goes to a much broader aspect, and that is the gym is not the most important part of your life. And if it is, you're doing something seriously wrong with your life. And this was me during high school. I would go to the gym, lift like 3 hours. Even if I wasn't lifting, I was in the gym for like 3 hours talking with other people, sure, about life and other things, but, also about the gym and, what numbers they're doing and all this boring stuff that really no one cares about. And then I'd go home and consume fitness content and, worry about all this fitness stuff. And it's just really, it should really be a secondary, or not even a secondary, but, a third priority in your life. It shouldn't be the primary reason why you're going forward. And yeah, it's like I'm lifting here in artificial lights, with steel, just picking steel up and putting it down. It's just very artificial. Doesn't feel authentic. And so, you want to live your life a little bit more authentically. I think a better way, if you're just doing this for health, a better way is, do something outside. Hiking is great, or some sport, like surfing, or something where you are deeply involved in nature. And I don't mean like football or anything. Sure, you're outside, but it's an artificial game, it's not like you are grasping the realities of nature. But, if you go hiking or if you surf, you see the world right in front of you, and, you get to affirm that, and it's a lot more enjoyable. But, I do appreciate the value of building aesthetics in your body, and, that's why I go to the gym, because I want to, look better and be stronger. But, if you could do this outside, if you could get a gym outside or something like that, that's ideal. But, if you just want to be healthy and you don't really care about how you look or even how strong you are, do something outside. Go surfing or do something of that sort. But, yeah, so what am I going to do with my extra time? I have 3 days. Why do I even want this extra time? Well, more so energy. It's less about having more time and more so about just having more energy during my day. And I want to spend that time reading and studying a bit on literature and history and what have you, because I think it's very important and I enjoy it. But whenever I try to sit down and read, I typically don't have the energy. It's after the gym or something and I'm just pretty exhausted. and then I'll use that as an excuse, and then I won't read. But I want to involve myself a bit more in my studies, and this is how I'm gonna do that. Just give myself more free days. Anyways, I'm a little sick right now. I'm not even sick. I'm just my nose is clogged. I don't feel sick, or there's no other symptoms. So I think it's just my body detoxing from eating clean. Mucus is a detoxifying method. So it's my body's way of cleaning itself out. So I don't even know if I'm sick or if I'm just detoxifying. But I just got back from weekend in Cape Cod. It was quite pleasant, but I did cheat on my diet for a few days. For 2 days, it wasn't too bad. Like, I was eating real food 90% of the time, but I did indulge in some cake and ice cream, and I had some Mexican Cokes, which are not the worst, because it's real sugar, it's cane sugar. A lot of the Peters, the Ray Pete fans, they will advise for drinking Mexican Cokes because they're actually peaty, as they say. So maybe that's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah. And ice cream, as far as ice cream goes, if you get a good quality ice cream, it's actually not bad at all. If you could make your own ice cream with raw milk, it's actually really good for you. It's like, I wouldn't even consider that cheating. Or even Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs isn't the worst in the world because the ingredients are just like cream, milk, eggs, and then whatever, like sugar, and then strawberries if you're getting the strawberry ice cream. So it's not bad at all, but it's not ideal. You want the strawberry ice cream ideally, or the raw milk ice cream ideally. But yeah, I got some ice cream from like a shop though, like an ice cream shop, so it wasn't the best. The video's ending, so I'll see you guys next time.